Good morning, game-driven drivers. Today we're going to go over a game called Decoder. You might recognize some of the gameplay from a game from the 80s called Mastermind. It's got a similar feel to that. And it's a mystery game. It's a game in which you can kind of put on your Sherlock Holmes hat. And not only do you get to follow the clues in this game, you get to create the clues, which is kind of a cool twist. So let's look at the rules of Decoder first. So the standard setup for Decoder involves a 6-color code that you set secretly, while your opponent also sets a 6-color code, but that's hidden from you to start the game. And then your turn constitutes you picking some colors to guess what that code might be, and then getting some clues you have to digest and then come up with future clues. So all your future clues should be consistent with any clues you have previously. I say that you get to invent your own clues because your guesses become the clues you build upon. So the standard game has 6 colors. You can play this with 5 or 4 color codes, which make it a little simpler, but also kind of give you a different twist on how you do the approach to solving the code, because you're kind of in a more urgent situation to beat your opponent. Whoever solves the code first wins, although both players will get an equal number of turns, so there's no advantage to going first. You don't have to worry that if you go second, you're not going to get as many guesses. The preferences for this game really are only about the pegs, the colors here. These colors I think are fairly distinct, but if you have some trouble seeing colors, like maybe you can't separate red from purple, or you have some other challenge there, you can go to numbers instead, and then each of the little dots has a number. You can also combine that and have both numbers and colors, just to make sure you never confuse any two items, because you got 2 different hints there. So I'm going to stick with colors on our preferences, and I'm going to go ahead and go to the lobby and start a brand new 6-code standard game. And then I'll let Mick pick up that Decoder game. And it'll be my turn since I started the game. You'll notice when you go in that the first turn is really about setting your code. And there are pop-up menus every time you click a question mark with the 6 colors. So I can go through here and create my own custom code, any order that I'd like. You can duplicate colors. I sometimes recommend doing that just because it takes one more clue out of the assumptions for your opponent. They can't just assume you have all 6 colors in there somewhere. So especially if you start playing someone multiple times, you might want to throw a curveball and mix up the code a little bit. The other feature we have here on your first turn is similar to Battle Zone. When you deploy your weapons, we have a randomize button that maybe not only comes up with a color pattern you didn't think, but it just saves you a little time from doing each individual pull down. And so I'll go ahead and click till I'm happy here. That one looks pretty good. I have a red duplicated here twice, so I'm just going to submit that one. And that's my first turn. And then she now will be able to go to her Decoder room, pull up the game, randomize her own code, and submit that. And that's our first turns. Now it's my turn to guess. So if we go back to the rules on Decoder, we're going to see how the guesses work. So this is my code, and these are my opponent's guesses. And one thing you'll see as a strategy is people sometimes do what I call the divide and conquer approach. They put all one color for half and all one color for the second half, meaning the only clues I'm really interested in are clues that have to do with red or blue. And so this person happened to guess one of the colors that's duplicated in this original code, so they actually got 2 reds right, a blue right, and then these other three are all wrong. So what these two numbers next to that guess represent are how many times you got the colors not only right, but in the right spots, and then how many additional pegs or additional colors that you got that were in the solution, but they're not in the right spot. And you start to accumulate more information as you keep guessing, and hopefully you try to make the guess consistent with your previous guess. So this was actually not a great guess, the second one, because I knew that these three pieces were all, or the three pegs were in the right spot. So putting blues over here makes no sense, because whatever I pull down from this clue should be consistent with that first clue. So the red is still correct. They did guess that right, but the blues are both wrong, and obviously one of these blues is out of place, so that's why you get the one white clue. And then they guessed orange, and there's no orange in it at all, so it really didn't improve the overall guess here. We actually went backwards a little bit. I'm not sure we gained anything from that clue. But that is how you proceed. You proceed to continue guessing clues and then compiling all of the previous results to get your next clue and trying to make a new clue that is consistent with all the previous information. So we'll go back to our game. It is my turn. I'm going to make a guess here. I'll do something similar. I'll go all green and all red and submit that. And I see that I got one in the right place and one in the wrong place. And here's where the double color really could mess with my head, because I probably think, oh, either the red or green is in the right spot, and then there's probably a red or a green on the opposite side. So that's more than likely what's happened with this clue. But in this case, I'd be on the wrong track if I guess that. I'll let her now guess. We're going to say she does blue, blue, purple, purple, orange, orange, and makes a guess. Ooh, she hit on 3 of them. So she's probably thinking, yeah, one of these blues is correct, one of these purples is correct, and one of these oranges is correct. And so back to me, and I see what her guess resulted in, and now I'm going to do something that I would normally do. I would probably guess, hey, my green is right, my red might be in the wrong spot. Let's fill the rest of this up with purple and see where that buys us. And now I'm really off track, because I've been told that actually one of red or green is not in this solution, and whatever I put over here isn't in the right place. So it kind of tells me that either there's a green that belongs over here. One of these top 2 has to be duplicated. Either there's a green that's here, but since green was in the right side, it makes me think maybe red is the right color here, and that one of these reds was in the right spot. And then there's another red in the wrong spot. So that's kind of how I would build off of that. Let's go to a code that I don't know right now. So I'm playing Deb, and this is a 4 code game. And when I started out, I put 2 reds and 2 greens, and like I said before, that must mean there's a red and a green, or 2 of one color. I went ahead and guessed red and green here, and then I threw 2 new colors in there, and you'll see that what I was told is there's actually 3 of these colors that are correct, but none of them are in the right spot. Well, if I truly believe there's only 1 green and one red, then it stands to reason that the red and green would be in opposite positions here. So I immediately from this clue jump to that, and then I just throw 2 new colors, black and purple. At this stage, I'm told there are 3 colors that match here. So that means my red and green are probably correct, and since I brought purple down to here, purple might be correct, or blue is correct and purple's not, and then black is correct. So either the black is correct or the purple's correct. If the purple's correct, then that means this color would change, and that's what I did in my next clue. Or if the purple's wrong, then the black is correct and blue should be brought down here. So I believe her code, although I haven't seen it yet, is black, red, blue, green. And I will guess that on my next turn, and we'll see if I'm correct. She has to take her turn, so it's not mine yet, but I believe that's going to end up being her clue. So that's how you go through assembling your clues. You'll notice you get 12 turns max here. I rarely ever get down to the 12 turns. It is pretty normal to solve someone's four peg clue in 5 or 6 turns. On 6, I've gotten pretty far down here, maybe like into the 8s and 9s, but I can't remember a game in which neither player guessed the secret code after 12 turns. However, that is possible. It would then go to whoever has the most number of correct pegs, and then so these are multiplied by 10. So this would be a score of 30, as you see down here, and they have a score of 11. So if you're on the 12th move, whoever has the best score there at the very end would win in the case of running out of moves. In any other case, you both take the same number of moves, and when one player solves it, or if both players solve it, the game ends. So that's a quick intro to Decoder. It's a really fun game. It definitely keeps your mind working. I don't think it gets old because there's always new folks to go up against, and the codes always change, and there's always, kind of like Sudoku, there's always a kind of rational way for you to go through the logic. So this kind of keeps my brain active. I hope you like it, and I hope you have fun on the site. I'll see you around. Have a great day.